Welcome everybody. Happy Thursday, August 21st, 2025. And it is raining here in Florida. I'm so happy. Welcome everybody. This is a special YouTube for Viada's Tiny House Village. We got so much to talk about because there is a crisis going on with our homeless community. And there's so many solutions that we can bring to this crisis. So, welcome. We want to get busy. The village is going to be really live tonight. I've got one of the authors joining me, Akuma. So, let's get busy and welcome our tiny house community. Come on in. The construction is complete. I'm all settled in my 320 square foot house. I'm so happy. Well, I don't know if unless you've been under a rock, there is a lot going on in the United States of America with the homeless community, or let me correct myself, unhoused community. So we're going to talk about solutions tonight. We got plenty of them, creative solutions. And the most creative solution is in a book form that myself and several other human beings and AI have brought all the data together to offer the best solution in the form of vegetable soup. That's right. We're cooking up some really good vegetable soup. So before I bring on my author, I want to just, in case you've been under a rock, I saw these really good videos about what's happening in our community, in our communities in the United States of America. And just so you're kind of up to speed about what's going on in DC and the dark part of it, the light part of it, it's all good because we have solutions. So let's take a look at some of the analysis of what's going on in the unhoused community. Let's see. I hope this can play.
So there was this program after 9/11 called Total Information Awareness, where basically they wanted to install a pre-crime system in the United States, and in order to stop terror attacks before they happen and all of this stuff, right? And it was defunded by Congress because they rightly pointed out that it would erode Americans' constitutional rights and eliminate the right to privacy entirely. And so they defunded it, but they didn't get rid of all of its programs. And then the guy that was running Total Information Awareness was this guy that was the top official in the Reagan administration, arrested for Iran-Contra, and he was pardoned by William Barr when he was Attorney General the first time. Poindexter was his last name. I mean, that's pretty much where they're trying to take things.
Earlier this week, President Trump announced his plans to deploy National Guard troops in the nation's capital, declaring a public safety emergency in order to put the Washington Police Department under federal control and station the National Guard on the city's streets with the intention to seek more permanent federal control of the Washington, D.C. police force as he continues his efforts to ramp up crime enforcement in the nation's capital. Many are outraged by this, suggesting that crime is statistically down prior to President Trump's deployment. Investigative journalist Whitney Webb believes President Trump's deployment has nothing to do with the statistical facts about crime, but has everything to do with their ultimate agenda. In an interview with the Sabby Sabs podcast, Whitney Webb detailed the long-term surveillance plan that is being implemented little by little under the disguise of keeping us safe. Webb suggests that ultimately, Peter Thiel and Palantir have a heavy influence in this new surveillance state that will go far beyond Freedom Cities, but will intrude on every aspect of our lives.
So that's one aspect of this story, this drama playing out with the unhoused. And then here's one more aspect of it, and then we're going to get into the solutions. because DC is corrupt as hell, and everything they do, we can't trust them. And I'm just showing you this to know that there's always a hidden agenda, whatever they do. But those of us who are of the light, who still have our sanity, we're not looking for more money. We have come with solutions. So let's just take a look at this brother's analysis of something dark is going on, but we're going to bring some light to all this. So don't worry, but we want you to know that something's going on that they're not telling us. So here we go.
I don't know if you guys have noticed it or not, but there seems to be a sudden increase in contempt towards homeless people. Okay. Now, I know that this could be partially due to Donald Trump's nationwide ban on homeless camps with the intentions of making America a more safer, cleaner place. And I agree with America being a more safer and cleaner place, but there's a couple of questions that needs to be answered. Okay. The first question is, where are they going to go? Okay. Now, the next question is there a more spiritual thing happening in the high places with the goal to further separate men and women who were all created in the image of God? Okay. I want to show you guys a couple of videos that I found shocking with some people talking about their experience being homeless and getting kicked out of their homeless camps. Okay. Let's go ahead and hop into this video, watch it and react to it. Before we do me a quick favor. Hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm so that this video can reach more people like yourself. I truly appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and hop in.
So there's the dark part of it. But as I said, we're going to bring some solutions tonight. And I have my brother Akuma here. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes, you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Welcome, my brother. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Akuma is one of the authors for the new book, Vegetable Soup for Women. And yes, men can read it too. Has written a chapter, he's written a story that just blew me away. And I want to just, before I let Akuma share why he's in this author group, AI classify. We used AI to bring cohesiveness to all these stories and a little bit of icing on the cake. And this is what AI said about this brother's writing, which is called The Balance You Can't Afford to Lose. It said, this brother's writing brings the secret spice, restoring feminine and male energy. There you have it. Did you know that your book, your story had all that energy in it?
Yes, actually I did. That was the intention behind it. And I'm happy that AI can see the human side of it all.
Got your approval.
There we go.
So what inspired you to get involved in this project?
Inspired me. So I am a part of a regularly attending group of people on Clubhouse. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with Clubhouse, but it's a social app. And we speak about a lot of different topics that are pretty near and dear to should be at least everyone's heart, but my heart as well. And a lot of the topics usually go back to a self-awareness space, which is what I'm all about. And so when I was invited to join the group to write about certain topics that were serious, such as, things for women or homelessness for that matter, all of the crises that we're going through, I'm all for it. And so I was just happy to be a part of the conversation. And I knew that I can bring something to the table that most people sometimes overlook. And so right now we're in a space and time where there are so many aspects of what we should pay attention to outside of ourselves, the physical things, all of the distractions. But coming back to an internal space is all of what I do.
Yes, and you bring in the conversation of male and female, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, your story ends with that discussion or that mention of bringing male and female energy. I think you said into balance. Was that part of it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
a masculine and feminine energy. You know, we all have masculine and feminine energy within us, and
absolutely.
some more than others. And so, yeah, you know, a lot of times the dysregulation from different things that we do, from whether it be everything that we absorb, the music we listen to, the food that we eat, the environment that we are around, they all cause us to be in certain aspects of balance or deregulation, you know, within ourselves. And so, and that's not to mention the trauma that we may have from our families, you know, the fears that we have, the limits that we put on ourselves. And so, you know, there are a lot of different things that take those balances and push them in one direction or the other. And when you grow up in a society, as I grew up, I'm from New York City, and specifically from Brooklyn. And you know, growing up, you as a young man, you have the wrong sense of what it means to be a man, at least in the inner city. You know, there's a very hard exterior of what that's supposed to look like. And some of it really just plays a part in our financial situations, our economic situations, social statuses, right? And the things that we aspire to, the things that we glorify, so to speak. And so, growing up, and then for me, I became a father really young in life. And being a father, it showed me why some of those things weren't necessarily what I thought they were, you know. And so, paying attention to myself really put me in a different position to talk about a lot of different things.
And beautiful. And have you written any books or published any books?
Actually, I am in the works of publishing my first book, which has been 3 years in the works. Yeah, and so it should be here within the next, I want to say, month or so.
Yeah, don't rush it. It took me 6 years to write my dad's biography.
Mm.
It was like pulling teeth. This man, well, he was in his 80s at the time, and he was in Chicago. I was in Florida, and we were going back and forth, back and forth. The beautiful thing about writing that book was I had a friend in Detroit teaching at Wayne State University, a history major or history professor. He took my manuscript for my dad and added so much rich history, because my dad was born in 1924. He went to World War II. He played in the NFL, blah, 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 blah. And when I thought I was done with my book, he showed up and said, well, let me tell you about this history. I said, oh, okay. So it just made it so much richer, full of history and information that people needed to know. But so yeah, take your time, do what you got to do. And because this book we're working on, Vegetable Soup, will be my fourth book that I'm collaborating, well, at least collaborating with other people for the first time. All the other ones were independent, just me. But this one is so exciting and different because we're all from very different backgrounds. And I think we're all very different ages. There's quite a range in the ages of the authors for this book, which makes it even better. So there's no generational division or conflict. It's all coming together. And the beautiful thing about AI is harmonizing and unifying the whole project.
Yes.
So that's what's really cool about it. Are you in Brooklyn now?
I'm sorry, say again?
Are you living in Brooklyn now?
I am living in Brooklyn right now, correct, yes.
So what do you see going on in the unhoused or homeless situation there?
Oh, man. You know, Brooklyn is becoming very gentrified. It has been over the last 15 years or so.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of what's happening in the homeless situation is, well, you see the streets are a little bit more clean, just a tad bit more clean than it has been before. But what's happening is a lot of low income housing is just being built up and pushed in certain spaces, and it's very densely populated now when it comes to where the areas in which where you see the homeless crisis. And so I think that's what's happening more. Before it was a little bit more spread out, and now I think that there are just pockets of them. And I'm not sure if a lot of that situation is going to get cleaned up, with over the last 2 or 3 years with the migrants coming in, and that through New York City, that really played a huge part in where a lot of the funding went, right? We had a lot of hotels putting up all of the migrants, and yet we still have homeless people on the streets. And so it caused a real division in where we're funding and what we're putting our money towards, and how we're helping our own before, taking care of what we probably should be taking care of. And so while I do see slight changes, I'm not necessarily sure if it's for the better, because those pockets are becoming worse in terms of because those pockets aren't just pushing the homeless people in those directions. They're also pushing people that are low income homes, which are people who are probably a little bit more poor and more adverse to doing negative things like gang violence and crimes and things of that nature. And so it's not necessarily a positive thing. You kind of know where to stay away from and where not to stay away from us.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's intentional, I believe. The government is corrupt everywhere. I don't care where you live. Even here in Florida, there's corruption on some level. And so we who have the mind to bring solutions to problems, we can help our brothers and sisters. And my concern for the unhoused is that there are a lot of veterans in this situation who have served this country, risked their lives, and because of the lack of compassion or just plain organization or common sense, these city governments, state government don't know how to treat our veterans. So it's a shame to our country, in my opinion, that we have U.S. veterans on the street. Now, they want to claim they have mental problems. Well, hell, you send them off to fight and kill and train them. Yeah, PTSD is real, but how come you haven't dealt with that problem like 100 years ago or whatever, the shell shock they called it? So I think we're going to be doing this show every week. I'm going to try and bring on every author at least every week to share their story and share their passion and their, like you're doing. And one of the things that's come up in my life already is 2 Facebook groups that are sharing how to help people buy land with like-minded people. This group and LA, one of the authors and I are always talking about tiny house living and land, buying land and land. These 2 groups, I'm going to try and get the guy who organizes this on his land. He's got like 50 acres, and he helps people get land and then develop it so they can make money, like building houses to rent out, tiny houses, sheds, whatever, to rent out on this land. So we're going to be looking at those type of situations or solutions to bring to the unhoused community. And one of the first things we need to share with our unhoused people is that you might have to leave the city to live and survive. Okay? It's like universe is knocking on your head, knocking on the door. You've been in the city, you're in this situation where the narcissist in chief, Trump, is like, he don't care anymore. He's looking out for himself as usual.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the way to have clean cities. And frankly, I think the cities have failed, are unhoused, are mentally challenged, whatever, because they have spent, like you said, more money on immigrants, more money on whatever, but not focusing on the citizens who needed their help with housing. So it's up to us, people like us. I'm not saying we're going to solve the problem, but we can offer solutions. And another solution that came to me today was in every city, they probably got school buses that are old and in a barn somewhere. And how about some of us start looking at land to put those school buses on and take the home unhoused community over there and say, listen, you can have this bus, you can drive off with it, but you got to take it apart and renovate it.
Yeah.
And we'll help you. Now, what do you think about that idea?
I agree. You know, I am all about self-mastery, right? And so a part of what I love with what you do and one of the other authors with the tiny homes is it brings you back to a space of, excuse me, of 100% ownership, right? And sorry.
Get some water.
Yes.
Yeah. And smaller space. You know, when you say Brooklyn has been gentrified, that usually occurs from my experience because people don't know how to maintain their houses.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And that's exactly what is, but and it goes back to community, right? Where if you're not maintaining your house, it's okay, but you have your neighbor, you have community that says, I'm so sorry, let me grab my water. It's just a little higher than I expected.
Yeah, you have community, like he's pointing out, that should be saying, hey, you know what? Can we help you paint your house? Or can we help you fix your gutters? Or can we help you do whatever to keep the neighborhood from being gentrified, maybe, or just to keep the beauty of the neighborhood? Can we help you? Is that lacking in Brooklyn too? Or has it been lacking?
It has been lacking, and it's been lacking for our people more than anything. You know, I think that we have initiatives that pop up from time to time. I live in an area where not too far away, just the next neighborhood over, honestly, the same neighborhood, is a Jewish community. And you can see the stark difference when you walk down the street and just from the litter on the street, just from the way that we take care of our homes and the trees that are planted on the sidewalk or that are planted in front of the homes. You know, you see the difference in it because I think what happens is we have initiatives that pop up from time to time, but it's not ingrained in us as a community that these things matter. So while one person may do it, while a group of people may do it, and the funding, it goes away right away because for some reason that's not important anymore. And so now we have to put money towards other things. Whereas, and I don't want to make this about, you know, anyone else versus us, but when you do go to, let's say, a Jewish community out here, they have their own police, they have their own sanitation, they have a lot of different things that say these things matter to our entire way of living, right? And so I think what happens is if we had it from an earlier stage in the school system and ingraining that into these are the things that matter, right? Which is goes back to what I was saying. I'm all about self-mastery, right? And having that 100% ownership and understanding that mindset around these are the things that help me to live a better life, the things that I eat, and where am I getting these things from? Where am I sourcing these things from? You know, my community and the environment that I walk around, right? Not just how safe it is, but you know, the air that I'm breathing, you know, how clean it is, you know, showing our children, you know, the things that matter, you know, and then that speaks to just being a person, right? And how you communicate with others, right? Your mannerly, you know, your mannerisms and your demeanor. And, you know, it's instead of walking down the street, and I hate to be cliche with your pants sagging, you know, show a bit of etiquette around caring about how you present yourself, right? How you interact with other people, you know, and these things matter. You know, we may look at them as a little bit far out of our reach because we're so tied up and we have to, we have 2 and 3 jobs that we have to go to. We don't have any job at all. And so we're always hustling, bustling, but reaching out to each other. And, though that's your resource right there. My neighbor across the hall from me is my resource, right? How do I not know what this person can provide for me or what I can do for them if we don't know about each other's lives, yet we're so close in proximity? That why wouldn't we know about each other? Why wouldn't that be someone that's close or that can watch my children for me or that I can, depend on in some way? And so I think as long as we start to realize that, look at ourselves as a resource for ourselves, loving on ourselves, then we can be able to see how others love on themselves and extend that. It reverberates outward,
Yeah, not just the pants sagging, but what I thought about was the twerking,
Right.
the nails, the hair, the eyelashes. We are so distracted and so miseducated. What is that? Was it Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of the Negro? That started quite a while ago, and it has gotten worse, in my opinion. No morals. Our values are really so materialistic. So and to me, this unhoused homeless shakeup is a universal creator move to get your act together. We're gonna give you time to reset your life. Get out of the city. My first suggestion: if you're being pushed out of your tent and you don't even have a house, pack up your backpack, whatever you got. Start hitchhiking south. Get some warmer weather, especially if you're in Brooklyn or Chicago, because you don't want to be outside when it hits below zero. So it's time to go south. And the opportunities are going to show up when you choose to change your lifestyle, change your environment, and do something different. You've been living in and out of a tent, and I know some of them have drug addiction problems. But what are you you're gonna end up being in a hospital or some, I don't know. What is the plan, do you know, in Brooklyn are people being dragged out of their tents in Brooklyn, or is that not started yet?
Honestly, before you even say tents, we barely see tents out here. And, that may be a hot area type of conversation.
Okay.
We're more cardboard boxes and just on the street. And so, I honestly, I may see a tent once a year, if that. But no, maybe on the subway stations and in public areas, sometimes you'll see them, the police officers will get them to be removed. But overall, unless they're causing a disturbance, they're just left there. Yeah. And it's sad because, sometimes you want to know that they're going to get help. Right. And so, we can go out and feed them. We can go out and give them a good word. Sometimes, and it's only during maybe the holiday season, like a Thanksgiving or Christmas, where you'll see huge initiatives of people saying, hey, let's feed the homeless, or let's call them in here and, do something special. But overall, they're left to fend for themselves. And I agree, when it comes to how difficult things can be, sometimes you just have to change your environment. Sometimes you have to, it's the baby steps that it takes, right? And when you don't realize that, in these bigger cities, that a baby step is a really big step compared to moving somewhere else. A baby step could make life so much easier. But that speaks to loving yourself and self-educating, right? You spoke about the miseducation of the Negro. I think that what happens a lot of times is we tend to stick to what we were educated by, right? That the misinformation, and not go out and reach a little bit further for ourselves and say, okay, this doesn't make full sense, or this clearly isn't working or hasn't been working for so long. Where am I being misguided? Or how can I make this take it back a little bit and not just go with what was being told to me, but how can I make this thing make sense? And a lot of times it really just takes just a small bit of your intentionality, right?
Absolutely. I've got someone who texts me, said they don't see the book.
There we go.
Here's the cover. It's not out on. We're debating about even marketing this on Amazon, because Amazon takes a big chunk of everything, and we don't think they deserve it. That's my opinion. But the book is going to be available August 31st. And as I said, right now we're putting, all the authors have contributed their stories. AI has helped us organize it cohesively. We're getting all these things done. So we're working through all the logistics. We're going to have a website where people can actually buy the book. So here's the cover. And Vegetable Soup for Women, a collection of stories to nourish your body, mind, and finances. Yes, finances. And yes, men can read it too. And AI put together 5 categories for this book. Blows my mind. I love AI. One category is the broth. The broth warms the soul. And all the stories that fit into that category, AI put in 3. I think there's like 3 stories in each category. Somebody's already saying they would love to buy the book. That's what we're here for. And so then there's the vegetable category or section, strength from struggle. Woo! That is exactly what you will get from these stories. I'm telling you, this is a divine guided book for helping, not just as, again, the homeless and distressed, whatever you are, man, male, female. And then it has a section called seasoning, flavors of wealth and action. We got experts on finances and how to take action if you're broke or whatever, and you need to get a new house or a tent. It's in the book. And then there's a potluck section for communities that feed us. Like you were talking about, the need that we have for communities to be involved. And that's exactly what we have in some of the authors who are in this section. And then there's the feast. That's the end, lifestyle, legacy, and boldness in that area. And there's 3 or 4 authors in that book. So we are just really excited to present this gift to the world that we believe will make a difference. And I'm so grateful for Akuma. And let me see, we got some comments here from Melanie. My son, I'm so proud of you. I miss you so much. Thank you, Melody. You know Melody, right?
I do.
Okay. And then and she says Gracie's May's daughter. Thank you, Melanie, for your kind, loving words. And then we have Four Walls TV. I believe that's LA. He's watching. So if you have any questions or for Akuma, he's the first author that we're presenting here for Vegetable Soup for Women. Next week, we're going to bring another author, maybe 2, whatever their availability is. I'm ready to really highlight the authors and the story and some of the stories and get us moving with solutions for not just the unhoused, but for distressed people, men, women, whatever. This is a book that I think will transform the thinking of anyone who reads it, giving you something new, something you hadn't thought about. But the reason that I started this journey with Vegetable Soup was I watched Tyler Perry's movie Straw. Did you watch that?
I think I did, yes.
You think you did? I'd like to forget
I
I
watch
did.
a lot of movies, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had forgotten, but it was so depressing to me. that I watched half of it and then I said, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to go depressed. I don't want to be depressed because it's a woman who goes from from bad to worse, and then she ends up going to jail, prison, whatever. It's like, I said, how could he think of a worse story to put us in the mood for sadness and depression? What's wrong with him?
Tyler
But
Perry's good for that.
oh my goodness. Excuse me. But somebody said, you got to read it. You got to watch it again. I watched it so I could do a review on it on the show. So I got a lot out of it when I watched the whole thing. I couldn't believe how it ended. I'm like, she went to prison after all that sadness and depression, and he puts her in prison? Really? Okay. So that was the story. That was the movie that I said to LA, I'd call it LA, we got to have a solution. We can't just be entertained by this kind of depressing story. This story is everywhere, and it's been everywhere. A woman loses her child dies. That's my sister's story. And then she goes to work. Her boss won't give her check. And then she's crying and depressed, and she goes back. She gets kicked out. She gets evicted. She loses her car. And then she goes to the bank, and they think she's holding up the bank. And then she just totally depressed and sad and all that. And then prison. So I said, okay, there's a solution for all that. Let's do it. Let's do it. So that's why this book came in my mind. That's why I right away wrote a story on trauma solutions. And I've got a book on transforming a shed into a tiny home. So I'm all for, and I'm just amazed at what has come together in this book in terms of creativity and passion and knowledge and experience. We've got one author who was homeless for 15 years. And I interviewed her actually on one of my blog talk shows about 2 years ago. And ever since, I'm like, I don't know how you're still here. How did you? And her story in the book is like something I hadn't even heard in part of her journey as a homeless person. But it will inspire you because now she's very successful and she's happy and content and healthy. So these are the type of people that have been brought together to write this book and bring together a collection of stories to nourish your body, mind, and finance. And then we asked one of our authors is very proficient in AI, Chat GPT, and all that. So he put the whole thing through chat and it enhanced it like 1,000-fold. So we just want you to get ready. You're going to love this book. I'm telling you, it'll be like your second Bible because it's so alive with passion, truth, knowledge, experience, and so much more. So Akuma, do you have any other words you'd like to say about the book or what's going on in your life?
Yeah, I agree with what you mentioned about the book. It's really diverse and it brings a lot of things together in terms of the mind, body, and finances. It really is a vegetable soup, with all of the ingredients that allow you to really nourish your soul. And, I think that there's so many different aspects to how we can better ourselves. There's so many different aspects to, where we can pay attention to. One thing may not be working for you, but another thing is you may have 5 or 6 issues that you're going through in the moment, but this book will help you to zone in at least on one space at a time and find a little bit of traction, a little bit of success, catch your bearings a bit more on it and slow down and be able to get there. And so, or speed up for that matter, and really get yourself in that space. And so, it's one of those things that it's short but hard hitting. And I think that's what we need, especially when you're eating a vegetable soup, right? You really want that thing to just hit you really hard. And so I think this really does a great job with it. And
fill you up.
Agreed. Yeah. From all of the aspects that bring to the table. And I think they're really practical and actionable as well, and mindful on top of that in terms of really allowing you to pay attention to the things that maybe you haven't even realized that are really your issues, or that you may need to pay attention to, but here are some solutions that, you know, we can bring to the table for you. And so I'm excited to be a part of this group as well, and to have it move forward in terms of all of that, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm excited to really meet you and be on this journey with you, because I'm a baby boomer, but part of my goal and intention is to become connected to the younger generation. And I'm really big on bringing the generations together. I have a 9 and 11-year-old grandchildren. That's one generation. I have two sons who are he'll be 45, and then the other one turns 40. So that's another generation. When we get together, it is so beautiful. When all the generations come together, the minds are so, number one, creative, but the minds are just moving with ideas and creativity and harmony in a lot of ways. Even though we don't all have the same belief systems, somehow the creator is looking for unity even among generations. So that's our goal with this book, to bring together men and women of different ages to tell their story, and yet to nourish the people who read it, and not say, well, they're too old or that one's too young. Nope, they're not going to see that at all. It is just a really cohesive and unified energy coming together to tell our stories and to soothe this really hurting society that we're in. There's just so much hurt and anger and hatred going on, but this is the book that we need to share with our friends and neighbors and family, to shift the energy to one of hope, possibilities, positivity. It's all very positive. There's no sour in this soup. and get us all going on a different path. So it's exciting. And to start with, it's only going to be an ebook. So everybody has a phone. I know everybody has a phone. So it won't be that difficult to upload this book on your phone. So get ready. And again, we're going to do this every week. I'm going to be doing this every week. And if you want to come back, Akuma, I welcome you, and any other authors. I'm going to be inviting all the authors to join me each week, so that you can get to know these men and women who have sacrificed a lot of time to put this all together. So,
I agree. And thank you so much. And, I just wanted to offer one more, word. It's so eclectic, and what you were saying from the generational spaces, that, sometimes we're all in different flows and different spaces of life and different expertise. Me, myself, I'm a father of 5 boys. And
bless you. Oh.
Pray for me too. No, just bless me.
Absolutely. What's the age range?
14 all the way down to 4.
Wow.
Yeah. And
wow.
So 10 years in the difference of age. And so and in saying that, and as who I am, I realize, being a part of this group, there's so many of us that some of us, we're experts, or we're are more knowledgeable around the things that that we do on the outside that can help our lives, right? Like you, for instance, with your tiny homes and how that can help. And then we have it towards the inner space, and this, which is part of what I bring to the table in terms of how the wellness, that it's internal, from the mind, how you look at life, how you look at yourself, how you approach any situation. This is why you bring up the feminine and masculine spaces, which matters so much to where we are within ourselves, and how much energy we're putting towards one thing or the next, where maybe we're putting too much energy on one side, where we need to balance that out a little bit more. And so I think this book, like you said, once we get together with the common goal, all of those different flows we allow it to harmonize through that common goal, because my flow can be doing something different from your flow, whether it be because of generational or because of an expert point of view in a different way. But I either way, from all of the authors, we've come and we put something together here that we've been able to bring a real soup that tastes good together. And I think that that's really what matters the most about this book, and that's a real highlight about this book.
Okay, so we got a question, and I think it's an excellent question for you, Akuma.
Sure.
Can you see that question on the screen?
Yeah,
I-
it says, I would
I
love
would
to hear. Sure,
Go
go for
ahead. Go ahead.
it. Says, I would love to hear more about his thought process in creating his story. He is a father of 5 young kings, and he wants to make sure the feminine energy is honored, understood, and valued. Yeah, I do. So just trying to bring my offering to the space initially wasn't as easy for me. Um, what I would talk about. It is vegetable soup for women, right? And I want to be very cautious around how I present myself when I'm being an expert or just giving advice to anyone for that matter. But I'm not a presenting woman, and so but I do have that other side, that balanced side, and I also have feminine energy within myself that I understand, and so and I'm married as well, by the way, and so um, I just knew there were things about women that I have also seen, and as we were talking about homelessness, I've been around um, homeless people in many different aspects of it, and I just don't want to go through how, but just different aspects of life. And I have noticed that some women that are in distress, um, it really does speak to the mindset around life more than it does speak around the options that may or may not be available, right? And mindset really matters when it comes to even seeing the options that may be available. Like you mentioned earlier, Viata, that maybe you need to leave the big city to go somewhere else. Why are you stuck here when there are options elsewhere? Maybe what you are doing is putting too much energy into one thing. We live in this very fast-paced microwave world right now, and it's only getting faster and faster because of the advent of AI and technology, and everything is just going to be moving so much faster. And because of that, we have to keep up, right, in so many different aspects of life. And sadly, women who have taken a backseat to men traditionally, at least especially in our society here in the last couple hundred years or so, maybe so much longer than that, have taken a backseat to men in different aspects of life, whether it be how they get paid, or just opportunities, being able to vote, just how they're seen and presented, right? And so there's so many aspects to what is available when you have to try to keep up. And let's say you're a single mom, or we know that in this country, at least around 50% of marriages end in divorces. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to put the number, maybe 60% of those have a child that is attached to that divorce. And most of the time that child goes with the mother, right? And so now this mom is left to mostly fend for her and her child, and that's, hopefully she only has one child that she's fending for, in a society where she has to work maybe twice as hard to keep up with wages, with getting paid. And so now you not only have to go out and work, but then you have to come home and be a mom. You have to do all of these things, and it's really, really tough. It's not an easy thing, and it's not your story is a sad story. It's how can we figure out to make this thing make sense? And sometimes the options come in a mindset of how you look at life, how you look at yourself, more than they're just the options that are around you. And so this story for me came about just knowing that there's so many women out there that are grinding really, really hard, and they need or would like a break. They would like and need to understand where to turn, within themselves. And sometimes it's not where you're turning outside of yourself. It is where you're turning within yourself to see the better outlook on, what you have available to you. And so nourishing the body as vegetable soup does is something that I pay attention to a lot. And, nourishing and expressing your feminine energy, more than just having to use that masculine energy where that's what it takes right now to keep up in society. Sometimes you need to take a step back and realize that they're equal in power. It's just different in how you use it. And so sometimes not to just look at how society only looks at the masculine energy as useful or powerful or what we should move toward, but also realize that there's so much power in the feminine. There's so much power in how that is used. And I myself use it for my advantage as well. And so it's just about integrating both of them and having that powerful balance.
Okay, that is some very deep wisdom. And I have to ask you, what was your relationship like with your mom? Because you sound like you had quite a loving, respectful relationship with your mother. That's where it starts. What was yours like?
Yeah, I'm in her room right now.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, she let me use her space. Yeah, we're really good. She was a great mom. Growing up, she was the type of mom that would take all of the kids on the block to the park, not just me. I grew up a Christian, and I was constantly in the church as well. And so just a lot of, she's just really a great mom. I say that all the time, about who she was. She raised me as a kid. She raised me really, really well.
were
And
you an
she
only
gave me
child?
a foundation. I am not an only child. I am the baby though.
Oh, okay. Mama's a baby boy. How many siblings?
I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
Oh, well, that's a nice big family. Was your father around?
Yes, he was as well. Yes.
Oh, okay. So that is so nice to hear, the balanced, healthy family you grew up in, and all of you grew up in Brooklyn.
No, little bit of, separation in terms of having half brothers and sisters earlier in life, but we mostly still know each other and are still good, but we all kind of grew up in the same vicinity, not too far away from each other.
That is so beautiful. Well, your relationship with your mother, your family shows in your writings. It's just amazing. It's just beautiful. I read that and I thought, wow, who is this person? Because it will speak to your heart, mind, and soul, what he writes in this book. I'm just so grateful for what you have contributed, and I want to thank you personally as part of this collection for taking the time to do this, because I think a lot of people will be blessed from what they read, especially from you, and I think everybody who contributed. But hopefully we'll hear in the next few weeks, we'll hear stories from the other authors. But really, really impressed with you and your family and your story. So gratitude and thanks to you for your contribution, and many, many blessings for your family. Keep up the good work. 5 boys. Oh my goodness. My son has 1 boy, and he recently bought a book for me to read called Challenging Boys. I'm like, me? That's your boy. And it's a divorce situation. So it's difficult, especially when they start out very young.
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful that I was placed in my little shed across the yard. I don't have to live with that all the time. But when those grandchildren show up, it's like, put on my helmet, put on my crown, take some deep breath. In fact, I do my yoga before they show up and make sure I'm ready, because it's challenging, but I love it, because children are our teachers. and especially grandchildren is now grandma's teacher. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this. I'm ready. And they're not here every day, so I do get a break. But
It's a
yeah.
different type of lesson, I'm sure,
Oh
as
my goodness.
opposed to just being a mom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but see, I was married for almost 40 years. My biggest lesson was patience in that marriage. Patience with myself and especially my sons and my husband. But now I'm getting the same lesson, patience. It's like I thought I graduated from that class, but nope, here it is again, a 9-year-old rebellious boy. And my granddaughter is growing, blossoming so beautifully. But this boy, ooh, he says he was my grandfather in a past life. I'm like, really?
Hmm.
So you know what that means? He thinks he's supposed to tell me what to do. Okay, let's think about this. So yeah, fun.
There's levels to what you gain from that, right? And really grow in your understanding in different levels. Like you said, you thought you got past that, but at the same time, now at this stage of your life, you get to reimagine that same understanding of what patience is and bring it to a whole different level, especially with what you said. He said about being your grandfather in a past life. That's something to pay attention to. So
yeah,
I love that.
He's got a different mind, and so we have to work with that. So it's all good, very good.
Blessings to you for that.
Yeah, you too. Well, everybody, no more. Let's see. Did I get all the comments? Melody said, "My grandbabies, LOL." And then Melody says, "Thank you, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and we'll keep you informed about the progress. Our goal is August 31st. This book will be available for your purchase, and you're gonna just be blessed beyond your expectations. So again, thank you, Akuma. Have a beautiful evening. Tomorrow, I'll be back here with health and well-being with Viata at 9 a.m. And my guest is expert on parasites. So if you don't know anything about parasites, tune in tomorrow morning. She knows it all. She's written a book. She's been doing this work for a long time. And she's going to tell us all what we need to get rid of them and everything. And she's very knowledgeable about the human parasites. She's very vocal on my Facebook page about the politics, the parasites in our political arena. We might get into that a little bit because she knows it all and we talk about it all the time. So Melody says, please tell her AI said hello. Is that AI? Yeah, said hello, and I honor her for sharing her loving son. Wow, that is awesome.
Peace.
Peace. Shalom. All right. Thank you all for all my yoga friends. Namaste. Sat Nam. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe O. And love you. Everybody have a beautiful evening. And we'll see you tomorrow morning on right here in Viata's Tiny House Village. Health and well-being with Viata. Everybody, shalom.